From Andrew Duneman, who'd lost his shirt in the middle of the field and was belting up there, naked from the torso up. But let's have a look at that again, because it was Calderwood's second try. And it's quite sensational, actually. The build-up was great, wasn't it?
They've opened up really well. They've used a short side play. Does well here, recovers the ball back, and then Duneman, he's alive in the play in the back. Like any good halfback, he knows what's on outside him. He gets the ball, he's not waiting around thinking, get me another shirt on the field. He keeps his head up, and this man's very good at this. He's got a lot of tries off these kind of kicks, and everything seems to be back way now at the moment. They're kicking towards Calderwood a lot, because he's good in the air, he's got good hands, and he's very, very quick.
The only thing he does wrong, Brian, is celebrate before he's touchdown.
I just think, you know, we talked a lot about Darren Albert beforehand about speed, but Mark Calderwood's quick as well. But the vision that Duneman showed on play, his coach would be pulling his hair out saying, don't kick it on play 2, and he's lifted his head, and he's very quick as Calderwood. He's seen him and he's kicked for him. I thought what a fantastic play that was. We're
talking of this kicking game that Leeds were playing. They scored another very clever try, Chev Walker through to Francis Cummins. The referee deliberated a little bit about this one. They were watching the big screen for a while before he confirmed the try.
It was, yes. Well, it's great build-up play again from Leeds. They're opening St Helens up. St Helens are getting back and they're a little bit out of shape. They're scrambling well. But here, like, this is a confident player. This is confidence through the side. This is a young man who lifts his head up again, realises that he's not going to score the try. And in this day and age as well, rugby league, the kicking game is vitally important. Like Brian will be able to tell you, at the top level, defences are that good that the way to open up a defence is with a very, very good kick. And to spend a lot of time practicing these things, and it's a young man showing a lot of confidence in himself, and that's a great try.
And Cummins showing real pace there as well. You have to be totally committed when you're going to run like with your head down and go for that really low dive.
There's no time for a risk management meeting, that's what I show you. You're just going to fire yourself out of a gun and get there and put the ball down. That's what the coaches teach.
Well, that was 18-6, and Saints really needed to score before half-time. They managed to just pull it off.
This is St Helens. One mistake. Sinfield's been fantastic. His kicking game's been on the ball. He kicks the ball out from a dead ball, blind drop out, straight on the full. Like, a chance of doing this is very, very, very high. It's not going to happen that very often. Tap on the 10-metre line. St Helens do what they do really well. They get shape early. And Sculthorpe throws a fantastic ball to the strike player in Newlove. And this game's changed completely. The complexion of this game has gone from, just before this, Leeds had a penalty to score to be 20 points to 6 up, which totally puts a reflection of the game in their hands. It's 18 points to 12 at the moment, and this game's all on again.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because at marks out of 10, what would you give each side so far for their first half?
I'd look at giving it Leeds about 8.5, 9, because they've done everything that they need to do. But St Helens are on 6. They've not done anything. They've dropped the ball, and they're one score off being in the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's incredibly tight. The scoreline 18-12. Leeds are leading. We'll be back here with the second half shortly, but let's take a check on the latest in the various football matches around the country.
Some significant goals have been scored so far this afternoon, not least the one scored at St James's Park at lunchtime. The 6 Manchester United scored. Steve Sutton watched them go in.
Manchester United are on top of the pile and in devastating style. Hard to believe that this was almost the same side so clinically dismantled in Madrid in midweek. Stung into action after a Jermaine Genius goal on 20 minutes, they seamlessly stepped up a gear and simply steamrolled Newcastle. 7 sensational minutes saw them go from 1 down to 3-1 up. Solskjaer and 2 from Scholes did the damage before Giggs added the 4th just before half-time. Playing to salvage pride became a lost cause in the second half for Newcastle, as Scholes grabbed a hat-trick and Van Nistelrooy scored from the spot. Amiobi got one back before the end. It hardly mattered. In this mood, Man United are quite awesome, and what a game it promises to be at Highbury on Wednesday.
They lead the table by 3 points, 1 behind Arsenal. Goal difference, they've improved their goal difference by 11 in the last 3 games. Good news for West Ham fans, not so good news for Aston Villa fans. The details from Ian Payne.
Yes, West Ham lead Aston Villa 1-0. Trevor Sinclair with the goal. Steve Lomas has headed against post and bar. Jermaine Defoe was clean through and shot wide. It's really tense here. If West Ham win, Villa will be only 3 points above the relegation zone. They've got a very tough run in, but if Villa win, they'll be 9 points clear and West Ham could be doomed. It's so nervy, and poor old Glenn Roeder looks something like a manic Joe Cocker mid-song. He's a man badly in need of a massage. West Ham lead 1-0.
What a picture. West Bromwich Albion, will they be relegated today? Will it be confirmed? Trying to make sure they're going to get a place in Europe now. Eleanor Oldroyd with the details.
Well, West Brom will be relegated if Bolton and Birmingham win, and we had a few ecstatic minutes of boinging here because West Brom the lead after 16 minutes. David Weir penalised for a handball. Igor Ballis, the first penalty West Brom have been awarded all Premiership season. But then just 7 minutes later, Weir redeemed himself by equalising with a header after a scramble in the West Brom defence. And then a minute after that, Kevin Campbell put them into a lead. He was completely unmarked on the near post. So it's West Brom 1, Everton 2.
Let's just quickly get the details. West Bromwich Albion going down. Portsmouth are going to confirm they're coming up, it seems. Damien Johnson.
Yeah, there's a real party atmosphere for Portsmouth's impending promotion. They lead a goal to nil thanks to a player who last week was on loan to today's opponent, Sheffield Wednesday. Svetoslav Todorov's shot was dropped by Kevin Pressman, and there was Lee Bradbury to strike the ball into the roof of the net. Bradbury is back from Wednesday and in for the injured Ayek Benny, by the way. Wednesday have played some decent stuff on the break, but Pompey are heading for the Premiership.
Final score just after 4:30. All today's football news. Now back to the rugby.
Welcome back here to the...
And Paul Newlove is in! And what a mistake there by Leeds. They've handed the initiative back to St Helens. And that man, Paul Newlove, his 130th touchdown of his career at Saints.
Look how slow they are. Look, they're so bunched up behind the post. That is a poor error.
I almost got the feeling, Jonathan, that one or two of the Leeds players didn't quite know what happened after you'd kicked the ball on the full into touch.
Well, Mal Riley and Darren Powell will be absolutely fuming with that. First of all, it's the kick that went dead, and then secondly, they just didn't regroup. They all a bunch of school kids under the post. Watch the ball come back in now. Look, they've got plenty of time. They're ambling back, and watch all the Leeds players under the posts.
And just look how they turn their backs on the opposition.
They're waiting for the charge. Sculthorpe just gets the right, and Newlove is in.
And a very important kick here for Paul Sculthorpe.
From being 14 points, they could have been 14 points now. Now, it would only be 6 points. Like, what a...
don't know what's going to happen.
And knowing Matt Riley and Darren Powell, the guys, Alex Ferguson kicking a throw in to change it over. I tell you.
We'll keep in 6 points. Not a breath of wind. It's a beauty, absolute beauty from the St Helens. Some spring into the step of those St Helens fans. They were looking down and out, but that man in at the corner, a terrific 40 minutes and a lot of Jonathan.
I think Leeds deserve to be in front 86. They've been very clinical, more organised, the kicking game been good, and I think the Leeds forwards have just the last they're a lot to pay for, and no one's won it yet. Down there.
That's right, Ray. Dave, I mean, there were times there when the Rhinos took you to pieces, but it's not irrecoverable now, is it, thanks to Paul Newlove?
Oh, certainly not. I mean, that's why I was trying to do just before the half. We've a lot of penalties away in their half, and we've given them easy yards, and we've got to put that right for the second half.
Leeds, I mean, you've got to do something that's going to quell them a bit.
Certainly, and as I said, what we've done is feed them by giving them early possession and sustained pressure. That's through our indiscipline. We've got to put that right.
You're not out of it yet?
Oh, certainly not.
Thanks, Dave.
Well, fantastic first half, and really strange as well, because the start of it was all St Helens, the end of it was St Helens chunk was all Leeds, wasn't it?
It was, and they'll be delighted going in just one score down, because they'll score tries for fun when they're on form, St Helens, and what a fantastic game. It just the bounce of the ball for that first try for Calderwood completely changed the complexion of the game there, and it's amazing, isn't it? It might be the bounce of the ball or a referee's decision that can change this tie, and that's still going to be applicable in the second half.
Well, St Helens scored the first try. The run from Paul Wellens set up Darren Smith, who went through. But St Helens tried to start strongly, and they did Dennis, for the first sort of 5 minutes.
Yeah, this is a very, very weak try here. Darryl Powell will be very disappointed. Chef Walker there, he's got to get low, he's got to get close to the ruck, and you just can't give away tries like that in a game as in the game. But what they did do well, they regrouped together and they got the next try. They got the next point, changes the balance of the game, and for, like you said, for that big chunk of that half, Leeds dominated. Every bounce went their way, everyone was making inroads into St Helens quite easily, and everything that St Helens tried just wasn't working. The stuff that works just
because of the pass. We're going to see the pass in just a second, Sculthorpe to Newlove. This could have made a huge difference. St Helens would have built up a decent lead.
I think it was a line ball, you know. Yeah, I think it was forward. You know, they'll take that after the officials. I think they got the call right here. It's slightly forward, but they've exploited Leeds on the fringes there with shape of St Helens, and a great pass. They're looking to throw someone into spaces again, as we said at the start. But it's interesting. Leeds come back down the other end of the field and do exactly the same thing to St Helens, exploit them on the fringes. So it's an exciting game. It's a bit cut and thrust at the moment. Exactly, because
within a couple of minutes there, Leeds scored. Paul Wellon slipped. I mean, that surface looks very tricky, but also the bounce of the ball is all over the place.
Well, you just can't trust a rugby ball. It can go wherever it wants to go, and when it hits the ground, it makes its own mind up. This is a fantastic kick, though. Like, it just sits up nice. It's a great kick even if Wellens takes it, but I think Albert's got to push himself a little bit harder there. The ball comes over, Albert turns, and then doesn't make any effort. Calderwood comes past him, gets the bounce of the ball,